Hi, today we're going to learn everything about classes inside of Toddle. And classes inside of Toddle are a little bit different than classes inside of Webflow. Classes in Toddle are used to add styling on elements that is kind of like an addition to their current styling that is preset. Classes are not really global unless you add like custom CSS on the page. So if you define classes inside of Toddle, they are tied to elements. So you can have the class is hidden on multiple elements doing different things. This is like the difference, and they're not global attached across pages, which makes things sometimes harder, especially when you're building web apps with different use cases and you're trying to introduce animations. Also, you can do advanced things with classes, like, for example, multi-step forms. I've built a multi-step form without logic, like without custom code, no custom formulas, only using classes just like that. We got, with nice animations, a multi-step form, just like that. And it even has a light and dark mode. And this is all using classes, right? And we maintain the styling across elements using components. Now, if you want to learn how to do those advanced things in Toddle, there is a whole course on the membership side at nocodeprocode.com. It is over 1 hour and you'll learn everything about classes in detail for advanced use cases. But today I want to give you like a simple video that will still give you all the principles so you can go out there and use classes efficiently and effectively. So how about we build like a simple light and dark mode using classes? So how about we create a variable, and that is new. That's a new UI. I like it. How about we create a new variable with the name of mode, and the initial value is light, just like that. And now we are just going, the initial value will be light. So let's make this light, right? And we want to go to this text here, and the text color should be inherit. And in here, the text color should be inherit. Oops. Inherit, just like that. And now I can go on this main div, for example, and add a class on it. So I can go to attributes and I can make a dark mode. So I click on classes here and I create a class, and let's call this dark. Now we have a dark class on this element. Now I can go to styling and I can click on the plus in the style section, select my class of dark in the classes section, enter, and now I will have my two states, default, which is light mode, and dark, which is dark mode. And for the dark version, I can just go to background color, make it dark, and I can go to font and make it light. Now I have light and dark mode. And now I got the class. If I were to remove the class, you will see I can change between those. So now we want to add our class of dark on this element. And now we will see we are in dark mode. And I can now make this class conditional using a formula. So I can go to my variable and I want to look for equals. The variable should equal dark. If it does not equal dark, dark is not applied. So I can work with classes and make those things conditional. By the way, I got this tip from Chris. Chris is amazing. He is an absolute sweetheart. Let me show you who Chris is, because he's amazing. He's helping everyone in the Discord. He's a true hero. Where is he? Where are you, Chris? Here you go. This is Chris Lau Puma, and he is amazing. He's amazing. Like, what he's doing in Toddle is amazing. He made a little reaction video to my classes where I did every developer's nightmare, use inline styling. And he gave me the idea to make light mode actually using classes, which I never thought about, which is genius. So he's so smart. He's an amazing Toddle developer. He's an amazing developer. He came from Next.js to Toddle, so of course he knows more than me. but he's just great, and he's such an inspiration. The way he approaches things, it's very innovative. I think he's definitely worth checking out what he does. He's mainly on Twitter, but his Twitter is really fire. You should check him out. So here we go. We got the classes. So, and the class is conditional on our mode variable. So I can go in here and add a button, right? And I can go to this button and I can go on click event and I can make like a little switch. So I add a switch, which is just an if-else statement, and the equation should be if mode equals light. So if the current mode equals light, I want to set the mode variable to dark. And if the current mode is else, meaning is dark, I want to set the variable, the mode variable, to light. So I do it in reverse, just like that. And now when I click on here, I am changing between those modes using classes. And then if I want to add transitions on here, I go on the default style and I go on transitions and I add a transition of all in this example. That just makes it simpler. And as you can see in here, we have a beautiful fade and transition in our light and dark mode using classes. Very simple. So much more simpler than doing this in Whist and Webflow. 1000% simpler. Now we can go even more funky with classes, right? Because now I can go on this button and I can add, conditional classes on there too. So let's just remove the hover. And I can add another class on here. For example, another dark class, so we can maintain the theme across the whole page, right? And I can add another style in here. And I go on dark. Here we go. And now that dark mode, maybe we want to do that button in dark mode should actually have a background color of purple, right? Here we go. So now I can go on the conditional class that will make it dark, and I do the same thing. I do mode equals dark. And now we have this changing. Now we also want to add the transition on the button ideally. So the button also nicely transitions. So I can go to transition and I can go to background color as an example. And now I have my background color transition. And look how beautiful that is. And we can maintain the whole theme using classes. So this is how we use classes in Toddle. We use them to change state, to animate things. Now, we can also use classes to move things, something like modals, right? So we got light mode right now. So how about I go in here and let's add a div block in here, just like that. And let's make it 25 width, 25 rem by 25 rem. 25 rem. And we got our modal, and we can give it a background color in light mode of gray 50, and we give it a border radius of 15, right? And now we go on attributes, on classes. We add a dark class on here, looking on if the mode equals dark, right? This is how we set the dark mode. Super simple. And now if I, switch this to dark mode, so I go to the variable, and how about we add the button again that was doing that. So let's just go a few steps back, copy our button. Let's go a few steps forth and put our button under here. Oh, I just copied the text of the button, not the button. Oops. Okay, now I got the button. Here we go. Oops. Okay, I think I just went into a loophole here, like in a loop. How about I just remove this and add this div again? I got the button copied now. So let's add the div. Let's just make sure we add the button right under it so we don't lose it. Beautiful. Now I got the width. I make this 25 rem, the height 25 rem, and I go with the background color. This will be light mode gray, and I'd add a border of 15, right? Now if I change this to dark mode, I want to go to this widget here, and we add the class of dark, and I go to fx, and I go to mode equals dark, and now I go to styling, and now in styling I can change the background color and ideally the text color. No, but that should inherit it from the background, so we're good. to be gray 800. So now, here you go. It's kind of working. Unedited is on default. Shoot. No, wrong. That was my mistake. This is good. We got the class. But now I got to go to styling and I got to click on plus to create a new style for the dark class, right? Classes are just classes and then you apply styles for those classes. So now we're on the style for the dark class. And now we go on the background color and that's 800, right? So now we got those things working, but the transition is a little bit off. So I go on the default, right? And what we change here is the background color. So I go to transition and I go in here and I go background color. And now we will have a smooth transition. Just like that. And we got it all working with classes. Just like that, we got light and dark mode with classes, and it inherits across all the elements on the page. So let's make sure we're at the default style, and we add 0.5 rem on both sides, 0.5 rem. And now we want to like open, close that modal based on classes. So what we can do is we want to take this modal here, and we want to make it absolute. So it's in the center, and then you know, like the default will be absolute z index 9999999. So we have 999. It will be the furthest element on the page, right? So we got that here, and we will add a button in here to close this element. So where did the button go? Here we go. We go in here and we add a button. Just like that. So where did, oh, there's our button. Like my camera was over it. So we add a button. And we can make this a close button. So I can go to Relume icons, just like that, and add like a close button here. And that will be, let's find a nice close button here, just like that. Here we go. We got a nice close icon. Let's copy this for Figma. Let's go to Toddle, and let's remove the text in the button. And let's put that icon in here. And now we can go in here and we can add some styling in there as well. So what I can do is I'm just going to go here and here we go. I just got a DM from Vakas from Toddle, so I just got a little bit distracted. They have a great team and they are amazing. Oh, okay, now he's putting like salt in the wound. Okay, there is maybe a course coming from Wiz to Toddle. I'm not saying whose idea it was, but it wasn't mine. Okay, so let's go to the button here, and let's go in here and let's add some styling in there. Let's actually change back to light mode by reloading the page. Here we go. And here we go. And this is blue. And how about we make this like white in the default style? We remove hovers. They're just adding more obstacles on there. And we go in here, right? And we just style the light mode of that button. So we can make this gray 100. So it's like a little different. And then in here, I can just make it inherit. So it inherits it over. And then I can add like a border, right, of gray 300. So it highlights it out, or maybe I can do gray 200. So it's a little bit more subtle. So I have my close button in here, right? So we got that state for the light version. Now I can go on that button and I can add my class of dark, right? I make it conditional if the mode equals dark. And now we go to styling, and now I add my style for the dark class. This is how classes work. They are great in Toddle. This is how HTML should normally work. We got my dark class in here, and CSS, of course, because that's what styling is. But we got my dark class. Now we change it, right? So where did my dark button go? Oh, it went somewhere in here. So how about we make this button absolute and make it 1 rem on the button so I can reach it? Here we go. Now we got the style changed. So now I can go on this button here and I can go to the dark style, and the dark style should be, it should have a background color of gray. Yeah, gray 700 looks good, right? Maybe gray 700. And then I go to my, I add a border, right? I need to override the border, and that could be gray 600. So now we got the style, and now if we transition, the transition are going to look funky, right? So what we need to do is we need to go in here. What do we change? We go to the default. We add the transition. Oh, not translate. We add the transition to background color. So now it's going to look less funky, right? And then we also have the border. So we want to add a transition for border color because we changed the border color. And now we got a silky smooth, seamless animation between those states. Now we can open and close the modal. So how about we call this button theme, just for debugging purposes, and then we add another one, right? Another button. And how about we make this button absolute top 1 rem, and we'll arrange everything later on accordingly, and we make this open modal. This will be open modal. Oh, open modal, just like that. And now we got our modal, and now I want to create like a variable. So I can create a variable, and I can call this modal open, and it's going to be false because the modal will be closed by default. I got modal open false. Now I can reload. And now I got my page here, and we got our modal in light mode, right? So I got my modal here, and I want to create a class of closed, right? And then this class will be based on if modal open equals false, right? Because if it's false, false, I want it closed. So now I can create a new style for closed, and this style for closed will make it opacity 0, so we will not see the modal, and we're going to go to placement and make it z-index -1, so it will be behind all elements, and we can't accidentally click that element or things in that element. And then we're going to go in here, and we can make an animation, so we can move it a little bit down. So what we want to do is we can go here, and we can go on where do we go? On transform, and I can go to y -90, and maybe 100. So it moves it a little bit down, so the modal moves up and fades in. And now we can go to the default style here, and we have to add our transition so it's silky smooth. So we add translate, because, you know, we have a translate up. We set the translate property, so we add the translate filter on it. Then also we have opacity, so we add the opacity transition on it. And now, you know, I got to take this button here, and I got to go on click, and on click of this, I want to do modal open, set to true. So now when I click on here, it is opening the modal. And now I can go on this button that will close the modal. On click, I will go to modal open, and I will set it to false, just like that. So now I can close the modal, open the modal. Now closing it is a little bit harsh, so let's look at this again. So I click on here, I add it, it fades in. I click on here, it closes it immediately. So maybe that's something we want to work on. So let's look at the modal, and we got our translate style, background color, translate opacity on here. I think the way we're going to avoid this, if we go to the default style, you know, the default style will be open. If we go to the default style, and we make sure that the default style has those things set. So we do opacity 1 on default, and we do transform 0, 0, 0 on default, right? That should animate it out, but it's pretty, I mean, does it fade out? I mean, I think we have the fade out. I just think it's fading out before it's moving down. That may be the thing. So we may want to add a little delay, but that's just CSS being CSS. Because we have it fade out, I think what's just happening is the fade out occurs before it has the chance to move down because it all happens at the same time, right? That could be. But it is fading out. So, you can refine those things with CSS, but you get the idea. You can have those. And actually, I think it's a better user experience if you open it and you close it and it's pretty quick rather than just moving all the way down. And we have an animation on here, right? It's just a very subtle one. If I were to go on this element here and, for example, remove the opacity, right, it would be way clunkier. So we have a transition on here. It's just that, as everything in life, timing is the key, But let's see how we can make this move down, because I want to have it move down. And I think we have it dark, we have it closed, we have it up. Let's actually remove the closed class for now, and let's just go between states. So if I go to default state and I go to closed, there is no transition. So if I go from closed to default, it's moving up. And if I go from default to closed, it's not transitioning. So this gives me the idea. How about we add those translate also on the closed class, right? So we add translate and we add opacity on the translate as well, and that may fix it. Oh, it's going to be relative. Maybe the closed class should be absolute as well, so it can transition properly. Very interesting. This is why I used inline styles for those things. But we got that. Now we have those things. We got the transitions in here. Yeah, it should work in moving down. But I think it's maybe the dark class interfering here. Let's try this again. Let's go back in here and let's add the closed class. If modal open equals false, right? And let's see. So you get classes can animate things. I'm still figuring out how to animate it down. But you get the idea what classes can do. And now I know what I have to work on after this video is figuring out how to animate it out. But this was a video, just generally explaining how classes work. You know what they can do. Now I got to figure out for the next video, which will be make animations using classes, how to make the most beautiful animations only using classes without using inline attributes. But you get the idea what classes can do. This was the idea of this video. And now I'll be, after this video, studying more about classes, transitions, translate, and how to make beautiful in and out animations using classes. So thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate that. If you want to learn more on classes and how to make forms like this using classes and how to animate things, there's a whole full course. And after I figured out how to animate things down, especially modals, maybe translate is a wrong property, I'll also make a video on that on YouTube, and I'll make also, in addition to that course, I add something on the course here to also cover that, because I thought I could just go to close and just move it down, and that will work, but the other way around doesn't work to the closed class. So, and actually I know why. We have translate, and we have translate. What happens if I add all in here? Maybe I'm targeting the wrong property. Yeah, I'm targeting the wrong property. because I'm targeting the wrong property. Now, what happens? Here you go. I don't need to make a separate video about this. I'm doing this all in one. So let's go and add a heading in this div. Right, we add a heading in here. Let's go to this div, add a heading. Now, if I move, that heading will be inheriting, and I scroll down, and it's going up, and here we go. So actually, I apologize. What we can do is just to make this simpler, I go to the closed class, and I just add a transition for all. Now, the downside of doing transition for all is if you already have transitions on it, right? Changing the style on the theme, if you do those things, will be slower because this has 300 milliseconds and this will have 300 milliseconds. So changing the text on here will be 600 milliseconds. It's going to add up and then your animations are not in sync. But since we move it down, right, it doesn't really matter, right? So we can just make it simple, go to this element, go on the closed class, apply the transition of ease all on there, and then we have it moved down. I don't even need to make a separate video on that. I just need to go a little bit over the time, and I wanted to certainly figure it out. So now we got it working. Now I can close it and open it, close it and open it, and I can change themes, and close it and open it, and close it and open it, and change themes again, and close it and open it, and close it and open it. And now this is how you use classes inside of Toddle. Now, if you want to learn how to make things more reusable, because now whenever you add a button, right, that button will have different styling and then you have to restyle everything again. I made a whole course here on the membership side that talks about classes, but also how to maintain things using components, right? So how to do things like you would do in Webflow in Toddle, create your own style guide, create your own style system, and then make it reusable. So I covered that in there as well. I'll be making more videos as well. If you want to join the NoCode Pro Code community and learn more of those things, get access to daily office hours, to all the courses, I would love to see you inside of the community. I think it's rather reasonably priced at $79 a month. I'm also still working on the template library that's coming this week / next week. That will also be available for free for all members. So you get great perks if you join, and the main value really are the daily office hours. They really help you get unstuck and make progress, and also keep you accountable for making progress every day of the week, of the work week. But regardless if you join or not, the videos on this channel are coming, and thank you so much for being part of this YouTube channel, for being part of this community here, for liking my videos, for writing wonderful comments. I really appreciate each and every one of you. And, you don't need to join the NoCode community to just continue getting great content. You will get great content on this YouTube channel. It's just if you want more content, more in-depth things, if you want real-life examples on things, if you want hands-on support in the daily office hours, templates to speed up your work, then it's hard to go around the NoCode Pro Code community because that's where you get all of those things that you're looking for. But, regardless of that, videos are still coming on this YouTube channel daily for Toddle. That's my promise. But if you want more, we got more things on the NoCode Pro Code community. If you want to get access, just go on nocodeprocode.com, click on Get Full Access Now, submit a submission video. It's just to make sure that we can help you and that you're a good fit for the community. But everybody who applied has been accepted so far. We had nobody who wasn't accepted. It's just, so that we know who's joining, that we don't have strangers in there. Because, we had some telemarketers go in there and try to sell their products. So, we have a little filtering process in there. But, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate that. And see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.